make one. Okay. Hello. We're live. We're here for Nonfiction Book Club that was supposed to happen last year, and just didn't happen. It couldn't happen. It was the end of 2025 was kind of a lot to do, but that's okay. But I'm excited to be here for the first live. Oops. For some reason I heard myself, but I think it's okay now. Okay. But I'm excited to be here with Nicole. This is Nonfiction Book Club. I guess we introduce ourselves. I'm Deboki. This is my channel that I don't really do much with except for Nonfiction Book Club these days, which is good. This is like I got my December 2025 stats from YouTube this morning, and I never look at those emails anymore. But it was like, they're like, there's more views here than I thought there were going to be.
Well, that's always fun.
Yeah. I mean, and like by more views, I mean like it was greater than 0. So it's like,
well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
To the 5 people who hang out with us every month. That's it. That's
a thrill. It's an honor.
Yes.
To be here with you on a Friday.
Yes.
And I'm here with Nicole. Do you want to say anything?
Sorry. I'm Nicole. And I have a YouTube channel that I've been posting a little bit in January.
You have been.
And I made a video yesterday about all of our books that we read in 2025. And I realized after I posted it that I like said Nonfiction Book Club without any explanation whatsoever. And I was like, yeah, but that is what my channel, like the fact that I'm making other videos, that is in addition, that is supplementary to the thing that my channel is, which is Nonfiction Book Club. So if you don't know what that is, then like, what are you doing? Yeah.
I don't think when we started Nonfiction Book Club, we thought that we were going to get to the point where Nonfiction Book Club was actually just what our channels are.
Yeah. That was not the original vision, but I'm not mad about it.
No. It's kept this channel going.
Exactly.
And also, Nicole posted a really fun video about women's soccer that you should all watch because it's been delightful.
Well, Deboki and I are gonna start a podcast where we just we badly explain our respective soccer fandoms to one another.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, Nathan has actually really wanted me to get into sports commentary because I think me narrating soccer games to him, a person who's both played soccer and watched soccer for decades, has just been deeply fascinating. Like, I think my insights are just not something that he was familiar with. Like, he didn't know that could come from the commentary, but I think it's deeply insightful. I feel like I have a good read on the vibes of soccer. I have no read on the actual like tactics.
Yes, like when you're jumping in, especially like I feel like we had really similar journeys in this respect of like getting all in really quickly, and when you go all in really quickly, they're just like, okay, I'm in it, and
I'm here.
And I'm here.
Yeah, like, people are talking about like 4-3-1s, 2-4-3-2s, or whatever. I'm like, the players are on the field. I know there should be 11 of them.
I count.
I don't understand.
Players.
Like, do positions matter? Like, don't they just go where the ball is? That's how I played soccer. I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, it's like the longer you play, you're like, yeah, I noticed that this player does tend to be in this part a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. When I noticed that like this one player's on Arsenal just like always does this one thing, I was like, I'm a genius. And it's like, yeah, that's his job.
But our star forward and 2-time league MVP, the thing about her is that she's our star forward, but she's also actually like an insane defender because she's faster than everybody. She's just faster.
Yeah.
So we're just like, so all of a sudden there's Temwa running down the field, and then there's Temwa blocking. You're like, what the hell? What are you doing over there? What are you doing?
Meanwhile, over on Arsenal, one of our top goal scorers is actually our defender, because Arsenal's thing like for the past year and a half is that they've gotten really good at set pieces, and so they get like a lot of their goals come from corners, and he's just so insanely tall. He just like pops up and like the ball goes in. So
header, you just can't get it around his head.
This soccer podcast sounds like fun. We should
Thanks for coming to the first 5 minutes. This is our preview of our soccer podcast. What we're actually here to do.
Speaking of vibes, we're gonna talk about Bad Company, in which the vibes are bad. The vibes are not good. But I mean, my spoiler is that I thought the book was good, but the vibes are bad. I just wanted to say that because, like, I don't want to make it like seem. But
you have to be really clear. Like, the book is good, but the vibes rancid.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Bad Company, Private Equity, and the Death of the American Dream by Megan Greenwell. It is about private equity and the death of the American dream. It is bleak, but also hopeful. It is okay. So I guess to start, we'll get into the structure of the book because I think that's like really essential for understanding what this book is and like what it's doing and why, at least for me, like why I loved it so much. So and it has a very clear structure. First, there are 3 parts. There is a before, a during, and after. And we are following 4 people across each of their respective industries, or like spheres, I guess you could say, before, during, and after a private equity takeover. So the first is, I want to make sure I get all the names right. Liz, who is working at Toys R Us. Then we have Roger, who is a doctor at a hospital in Wyoming. Then we have Natalia, who is a journalist. And then we have Lauren, who is a resident of like a lot of hers is the hardest to describe because hers is the most sphere-y, but she's an organizer, but really her chapter is focused on housing and sort of her personal experience with housing that has been taken over by private equity. So she's not like working in the industry, but she's like deeply affected by this takeover. And so again, like I said, it's like there's like a before that's used to set up what these different places or like basically what these people's lives were like before private equity entered, but also getting into the circumstances into how private equity becomes a part of their lives. There's the during where private equity basically tanks the shit out of things. And then there's the after, which covers both like the after effects of private equity on those industries, but also how these individual people responded to really challenging circumstances, how they organized, how they just really kind of work to try to fix some of the problems that have been left behind. And along the way, also, I should note that the author explains private equity, which is important because I am not a business person. I don't get a lot of things in this book, but I think she does at least a decent job of laying out some of the basics of like what makes this what it is. So basically the idea is private equity is, let me see if I'm getting this right, they are leveraged buyouts. So they are borrowing money to buy into like other companies that might be failing. The idea is that they're going to come in and like fix things. But the key detail, one of the very key details, when I said that they borrow money, they are not borrowing the money. The company that they are taking over is the one that's borrowing the money. So they actually, the private equity companies do not actually have a lot of risk when it comes to what they're doing. The other thing is a lot of their finances, a lot of their ability to invest in these companies and take them over is coming from investors who are often things like pension funds or like other sources that are like giving them money to make it grow. And it's a lot of stuff to get into, but that's a start. I'm about to launch into a lecture on private equity, a thing I am not qualified to explain, but yeah, that was just an essential detail for me to understand, just like at least some of the bullshit that's going on.
Yes, totally. Yeah, the intro to that was honestly a really solid intro to private equity. Actually, I think you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Perfect. Awesome. I can now teach business school. I am a business person.
You are an expert in business.
Yes.
Listen, I was
it was funny because I was trying to explain this book to Nathan like yesterday, my husband, who is an economist,
who is an economics professor,
and I'm like, yeah, so there's a thing called a leveraged buyout. He's like, yes, there is. I was like, there's a thing called a sales leaseback. And he's like, yep, that's also a thing. The reason this came up is I was like asking him like something about like there was a sentence that was like about them having to pay out dividends, and I was like, can you explain what the sentence is? And I think he didn't know how to explain it because I think to him the words are self-explanatory.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know what it means.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, because it is a thing where like the one thing that is true kind of across the social sciences is that the words for things are what they are. Like it's in the thing, but to you like you like have to know things in order to get there. With like
Right.
economics specifically, it's like I get it. I get where you're like, yeah, we called it what it is. I don't understand why you're
Right.
confused. But it's like there are mechanisms. There's like prior mechanisms you have to get to. Unlike I feel
Right.
like in sociology, generally speaking, we called it what it is, and like the prior mechanisms are like you exist in a society, so like you can probably understand what we're talking about
Yeah.
in a way that I mean sometimes this problem
Yeah, I
also.
was gonna say that feels like something that you say when it's your field
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
sure, sure, that's true.
obviously
Okay,
the words
but
make sense.
I feel like economics is like worse for this
Yeah.
just because there are like mathy mechanisms that get you to the
Right.
thing in a
Yeah.
way where you're like, but I don't understand what people with money are doing because
Right.
what I don't have the lived experience of is being a person with money. So I don't really
Right.
understand
Yeah, it's like I mean, this is
leverage.
all like
I
a
don't
little
have
bit of a
leverage.
sidetrack. Like, it's interesting you say that because it is one of the things like I talk about a lot with Nathan is sort of like the use of a lot of economics terms and sort of like general everyday online discourse. And I
Yeah.
think for him as an economist, like something like the use of capitalism or neoliberalism, which to him have very like specific definitions, I think it
Yes.
drives him a little crazy to see them get used just like very broadly. Like I also kind of find it annoying when people use capitalism as a substitute for greed. Like you can just say greedy. You
Yeah,
can just
yeah, yeah.
I remember like way back there was like a video about some makeup guru that like their way of calling them out was by calling them a capitalist. And it's like you can just say she's
It's
greedy. Like you can
greedy.
say she
Yeah,
just wants money. Like I like
yeah.
capitalist is like
We actually got a
yeah.
correction on one of our videos. I forget what it is, but there is some video where like I offhandedly was like, yeah, because capitalism, and it was like
Yeah.
this is a really interesting discussion. However, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I
That
hear
was
you.
Nathan.
That's
No,
specific.
I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I was like, maybe really this is like Nathan's alt account.
Yeah.
Because I 100% am out here like, well, yeah, because capitalism.
Yeah.
So you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nathan.
Yep. No, no, it's fine. I mean, I think like obviously that's also the nature of just like the way we talk about things, and
Sure.
capitalism's fun to blame.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they wanted it to
Listen,
not be
capitalism and Ronald Reagan are actually both responsible for like
right,
that is a good
yeah,
shorthand. You're like this
yeah,
thing
yeah,
about
yeah,
my life sucks. Listen, it might be capitalism and or Ronald Reagan. I don't
yep,
know what to tell
yeah.
you. I
That is why the age of surveillance capitalism was very helpful to me as a book.
yeah.
All things always go back to that book. Even this book goes back to that book because that was the book that helped me understand a lot of the specific terms that I've like seen in the discourse. But as
Yeah.
someone who did not do the social sciences, like growing up or whatever, did not like get a good like education in both capitalism and like Karl Marx, right? Like, which
Yeah.
it feels like when I go online, I'm like, it seems like everyone knows everything about
You
Karl
guys all
Marx,
have
and
all
I'm like
this
out
knowledge.
here.
Well.
Yeah, I know. That's just what it
Well.
seems like. Again, as an outsider, I'm like out here being like, I don't know. Like, seems like they know what they're talking
Seems
about.
like you know what you're talking about. You're
Yeah.
speaking really confidently. So
Yeah.
you surely
Yeah.
you were not lying.
Must be right. Yeah. So like that was the book that helped me first understand a lot of the like market forces that are like shaping the way things are today. And I feel like this is a book, just to bring it back to the book,
Yes.
that Bad Company is like actually a book that helped a lot with building on that. It's a little more 101, like surveillance capitalism is pretty
it's
like
very
it's 101, but also
this is
like
about
all the
something
follow up.
it's very specific. It's very
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
It's like a good introduction to an explanation of like something that is a really big deal in our economy that I feel like I've heard a lot about tangentially,
Right.
that I have I know people who work in private equity also, like I don't know.
Yeah.
And like I just never really asked them that many questions about their jobs.
Right.
And
now
well, you know, that's a whole other conversation. But like,
yeah.
I feel like I have a much better understanding than I did before.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I think one of the big things, again, this is why it like reminded me of surveillance capitalism, that she gets into a lot and really kind of like hammers home consistently in the book is that a lot of the issues with private equity, it's both, like I was saying earlier, the fact that they don't actually have a lot of skin in the game when it comes to risk because like they're taking out loans that aren't in their name and they are getting investments from other people. They're not actually putting that much of their own money into it, relatively speaking. It's still a shit ton of money, just not like given how much they're actually spending, it's not as much. They're also doing things like these sales leasebacks where like Toys R Us is selling them the property that they used to own and then being charged rent for it to continue operating, which was crazy to me. On top of all of that, the other issue,
that whole mechanism, like every time
I don't get it.
I actually reread the book because I was basically done with it when we decided to, I was like ahead.
So
canceled it.
And then I was like, nuh-uh.
And like, to be clear, December was a lot. So I was also like, yeah, you know what? That sounds great. But then this past week I was like, I've been working on a little embroidery project. And so I've been listening to it again. And like there are two things I had to speed up during some of like the breakdown of Lauren's housing situation. Like when that really, when that was going up, I was like, it was like, as soon as it started, like that sequence, I was like, I actually have to like speed this up because I can't sit in this because I'm so anxious and angry about it. And that was a section where like I really truly had to speed it up. But then the other thing that I didn't like speed, I didn't change how I was listening to it, but I had that like the physical sensation every time they were talking about like that process of like the leasebacks. Like I like, and how, and like, I just like, that's so fucking crazy that you're allowed to do that. I just like, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. I don't know. It's so
so like for people who haven't read the book, like basically what's happening is like, so for example, for Toys R Us, they have been bought by this company, but on top of that, they're basically having to sell one of the things that they like makes a company like Toys R Us great for private equity is that they own a lot of property. So they are having to sell that property to the private equity firm, and then on top of that are being told that they have to pay
the private equity
rent.
firm does that. They sell, they come in, they buy a Toys R Us, and like what they need is a quick infusion of cash to say, hey, look, this investment that we made into Toys R Us is so valuable. And part of how they do that is they sell off all the land that Toys R Us owns, and they sell it to some other company that they also own. In many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, which is actually insane. And now Toys R Us no longer owns all this land, and they don't actually have this infusion of cash because the cash is going towards the loans that the company
that is being taken out in Toys R Us's name
Toys R Us's name to buy itself. Like that's like that is somebody coming to me and saying,
No, I agree. The whole thing is so cyclical, and I'm so confused by like how it's possible. But it's like, okay, I guess this is what it is.
I'm
like,
gonna take your house from you. I'm gonna take out a mortgage on your house, but you're gonna have the mortgage.
Right.
That's what's happening. They're saying like somebody coming to me and saying, hey, I'm going to take your house. And how I'm going to take your house is I actually also don't have enough money to like buy your house. But like the way I'm going to buy your house is that I'm going to take out a mortgage to buy your house. Which, okay, sure, cool. That's how I bought my house, right? Except the mortgage is in my name, but it's your house now. Like that's what's happening. Like that's what they're doing.
Yeah. It's crazy making. And then like on top of that, they're having to pay back the loan. But they're having to also pay the rent. And then like they're also having to pay like the interest on the loan. So there's really like, you're just like, I don't know. You're just kind of like, so like, this is a trap. Like it is a trap. Like it's just, it's fully a trap.
There's no way that this process is going to make these companies profitable in the long term. There is no like the framing of private equity is going to come in and like turn these businesses around or whatever is nonsensical. Nothing about these tactics will lead to turning it around. These tactics serve a single purpose, which is to suck the last vestiges of value out of them.
As quickly as possible. In ways that leave other people holding the bag. Like in ways that are also like theft at points too. Like So like bringing back to what I originally was trying to say, but like got so derailed on because it's just like constantly derailed by anger with this book. To what Nicole was saying, like the thing that this reminded me so much of, like with like the fundamental thing I got out of surveillance capitalism is like the whole way that the capitalism has gotten messed up. It's that it's no longer even about profits. It's about like maximizing shareholder value as quickly as possible. And that is a thing that like now shapes our economy in so many gross ways. And like for me, the chapter that really hit hard was the medical chapter. I mean, every chapter hit hard in a lot of ways. But the medical chapter for me like really resonated, like living in a ruralish area where like we've sort of like experienced similar kind of hospital system-y things. And I don't know, I was gonna look up but didn't get time, like whether or not there's any sort of like kind of like who owns the hospital system here and stuff, because I was curious, like, oh, like what's going on. But the chapters, like the chapter again, every chapter, like Lauren's housing situation, like truly like the way that the like lack of management, lack of accountability, the fact that like the private equity company that owns them was just basically like, or like the management company was just basically like, yeah, that was the previous landlord's fault. That's not our fault. And then meanwhile, like mold is like pouring out of people's ACs. There's flooding.
I don't care whose fault it is. You have to do something about it.
Right. Like yeah. And they're like, yeah, well, we would have had to like knock the walls out and then we couldn't charge rent. So that's not going to happen. It's like,
yeah, it should actually. Like I have to tell you, like, yes, that's what you actually have to do in this situation. Right. Because you're a landlord, and that's like, yeah, it's the way in which none of these businesses, it is taking all of these businesses and turning them into not being about the thing. And like it's bad enough when you have like a toy store that is no longer actually about selling toys, like that has its own, you know, like upset or whatever. But then when you're talking about how hospitals and housing, like the fact that you have that people's hospitals and housing are no longer actually about hospitals and housing. They are businesses that are again about extracting shareholder value, and like applying that framework to like those industries in particular feels particularly, I don't know, insidious and bleak. And it is stuff that like all throughout you're like, I see the examples of this. The newspaper thing the like iconic, there used to be a very, very iconic Kansas City Star building downtown, beautiful all glass building that is now being turned into a data center because they sold their beautiful downtown. And like
my one of my hometown, when I lived in upstate New York, I lived near Rochester, so they mentioned the Democrat and Chronicle, which was like my newspaper growing up, and like I don't know, that got me. I was like, no,
you're like, oh okay,
yeah. And it's like part of what inspired this book is Megan Greenwell's own experience with private equity, like working in a media company, and it's bleak. It's bleak.
It's bleak, man. It's really dark there.
I don't know where I was going with that. Just to say, that, like
hospital stuff in particular. Well, because that was where you were talking about how hard the hospital chapters were to read. Again, because you have this perversion of intent. Like the intent of a hospital should be to provide care for people, but that's actually not true. Like that isn't the purpose of once private equity buys a hospital, the purpose of that hospital is not to provide care. Like the purpose of those businesses, the purpose of a business that's been purchased by private equity is no longer the stated business. Like whatever its stated function, whatever its like original presumed function was, that is no longer its function. Its function is now maximizing shareholder value and applying that framework to industries like hospitals.
It was also really striking to me. And again, I feel like, I mean, this is a lot of me projecting my own personal experience, but one of the first things they shut down was like the maternity ward. They're just like, no OB care, which like, I don't know, against the backdrop of how bad maternity care is in the US, it's like, well, that's sad. Like, that's horrible.
The fact that our maternal mortality rate, like compared with other like comparably developed nations, like yikes, yikes, dog, yikes.
There's a story of like someone who like decides to basically go to a hospital much further away to get the care that they want because they just like don't have options. I think they were like driving in a blizzard around like twists and turns, and I was like, I can see that. Like I can, the area I live in is like rural-ish. I wouldn't call it like super rural, but it's also like we're Western Massachusetts. It's not Boston out here. Like we don't have all of the care, like, you know, that. I assume Montana is similar, like probably not a lot of like options hospital wise, I'm guessing.
Missoula, I don't know about a lot. Missoula does have at least one very, very large hospital down
Right,
there.
but I mean in terms of having options. So like that's why like that's one
Right.
of the reasons why this chapter like stood out to me, because like especially
Yes.
like if I compare to like my parents who live in Long Island, like they have options when it comes to care. For me,
Yeah.
when I like was dealing with pregnancy, I like really was like, oh, I don't like have any options for care. And like it ended up turning out that I had one more option that ended up being the option that was right for me. And I just like didn't know about it. But it was like, oh right. Like I like it was just like the comparison between like me and like
Yeah.
the rest of my family, where it's like, oh, like this could just be it. Like it just could be
Yes.
that I have to go to a
Yes.
hospital that I don't really want to go to. And that's, I don't know, that's part of like why that chapter like stood out a
Yes.
lot, and like also why I think that like so all of the after chapters are really focused on like the solutions that these people kind of pursued. A lot of it is activism, a lot of it is like really like one common tactic is like going after the pension funds that are like investing in
I
these
love
companies to
that.
talk to them and and be like, hey, the very people that you're trying to help are like with these pensions are actually the people who are either in solidarity with or directly affected by these like these private equity companies. So that's like one tactic that they go over. But the one with the for the hospital was like basically like we're gonna build our own hospital.
Yes.
And I just like
that
loved
was
that.
the hospital stuff was interesting because on the one hand, it is possibly like the bleakest on some level to think about like that. I don't know. I second bleakest. I think private equity
it's so hard.
I think private equity owning housing is worse. Is a little bit worse than private equity.
It's like so fundamental and like universal and horrible.
Yes. Yeah. That one to me feels slightly worse. But private equity owning hospitals and housing are both kind of sort of 1-2 on like bleak. But the like solution, the sort of they all kind of she manages to get all of these stories to some sort of like forward looking place, and the hospital one did actually come around to I think this is the single most optimistic sort of ending, like because the solution they came up with was in many ways the most radical, like that they just said, okay, we're gonna get a whole new hospital and the whole community, and the thing is the reason they were able to do that is like working together as a community. That is like actually a theme across all of them, all of the like the solutions. There is no solution to this that can be achieved by an individual. Like these are not problems that any one person can like really rail against in any more material way than like what Greenwell has done in writing this book. That's like, I don't know, as much as you can do as a single entity. But the real solutions are going to be calling your neighbors or your peers or your whatever your affected community is, like that is going to have to be the solution. But the hospitals building their own hospital. And
the building of the hospital was also fascinating to me because I mean maybe this gets back to the capitalism thing, because one of the issues that like comes up basically with the hospitals is like these are like so consolidated, like they're basically there's no competition in the area for these hospitals. People don't have a choice, there's no other options, they're all owned by this one company, and like what are you gonna do? And this like setting up another hospital is creating competition. Like if we're gonna like talk about like what the point of capitalism is supposed to be theoretically, that is like supposed to be one of the benefits, is having competition that forces people to like hopefully in this case provide better care, provide what like people actually need, and not send them on a helicopter to a hospital that's like however far away, or create really dangerous. Like one of the reasons why the hospitals like section is so horrifying is like one of the consequences is like a patient dies because there's a lack of security, and someone else who is like having some kind of mental health crisis like that like severely injures them.
And it's like both sides of that too, like there's the death of this woman being like the primary focus of this, but also this person who was like in this hospital like needing psychiatric care is now a murderer because of how ineffectively that care was provided.
Exactly.
Like, just dark, bleak all around.
Awful. Caitlin says that. Think about the messed up economics of healthcare and hospitals. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, like another big part of that section is about like the patients who are on Medicare, and like how like one of the things is just like I don't know, just like hit me in the face was like how much more they were charging insurance companies to
Yeah.
basically get more profits. And you're like,
And like that's she
American
doesn't
healthcare.
explicitly say this, but like it's implied. Like one of the things that's happening is they have this rural I mean, they're both rural. They're Wyoming. We're not really talking about big cities, but there's like the town where they're based, and then Lander's the other. Where's the town where they're based?
Was it Riverton?
Riverton. Yeah. Okay, so Riverton is where Roger is, and that's like mostly like that's where like you have like a higher, it's like older population,
right?
Higher proportion of welfare usage, and then Lander, the other town, like the two that where you have the two hospitals that are getting sort of consolidated, they're like 30 miles apart, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
and the a lot of services that are getting more and more services were being punted to Lander, and like undoubtedly a big part of that is that Lander has a lower proportion. Like it's she does say early on that like Lander is wealthier, wealthier than Riverton, and so like a lot of what's happening there is that Lander can charge more insurance companies, and so they're I don't know. That's great. What a time to be alive.
Yeah. Anyways, we always like to talk about structure, and I mentioned this beginning, but I really love the structure of this book, and so I just like really wanted to like shout that out, I guess, because I felt like one of the things the book did so well, it was like, you know, private equity is such a big topic that like I think by focusing on like just like 4 key stories, it was very much like, okay, we can effectively tell the story of what private equity is doing and how we can try to approach like dealing with it if we focus in on these stories, if we focus in on the industries. And also because there's this before, during, and after section, there's a lot of like parallels that you can draw along the way, and I just really liked it.
It's like beautifully structured. This is my favorite way to like have a nonfiction book, but it's one of those things where it's incredibly elegant, and I think it hides how much skill it takes to do this effectively. Like this is my favorite. My one of my other like a nonfiction book that I recommend to people all the time, just mostly like for this reason of like book structure and like engaging. But is Isabel Wilkerson's The Warmth of Other Suns. I think is fantastic for basically that reason. Like she's talking about this like migration pattern, but it's a similar sort of approach where she has a couple specific case studies that she's using. But then much like with this book, there is so much skill in how you weave, like how you're telling a narrative about a person. She is essentially telling 4 stories. I think that book has 3, maybe also 4, I don't know, 3 or 4. It's been like a decade since I read it, but or you have a story that you're telling in a sense. There's these mini biographies, and that has a sort of narrative arc that you're building about these people. But then in between that, you have to tuck all of these like, you know, facts. Just they're like, and like, and then this thing was created, and then this, you know, whatever. And like, I think that when it is done well, in the cases where you see it done really, really well, one of the things about that is that it hides people who are good at it. It's like it's like a skill where you're, how do I say, it reminds me a lot of like in the world of production, like good sound mixing makes you unaware of it. Like it's somebody who somebody who's a sound mixer who has done their job well, you think nothing has been done. You like you don't actually
absolutely like it's so funny because like when I was thinking about the structure, I was like, it's so simple, it's so obvious. And it's like, that's because she did it so well.
She did it really, really well. Like this is genuinely like it. So
it makes the book so readable. Like that's the thing too.
Readable. It's like genuinely, it's very readable. It's very engaging. It's very memorable. And like it grips you. And it is a thing where it's like, yes, the structure, it feels like so obvious, but it is like clearly the result of incredible skill, both in terms of structure and then just like, you know, there's like line level writing that is also really, really strong. Like that you also need to make something like this work. Like I've been thinking, I was thinking when I was recording this video yesterday, actually, about that, like what it was, where I got to the end of like looking at the 8 books that we read last year. And I was like, this was kind of a meh year. And I like hadn't really thought that going into it, but I was thinking about like places where like there were structural things. I don't know, the longer we do this, the more, we learn about
Absolutely.
what is working and what isn't working. But
Yeah.
like that is one of those things where I see how you could, like, somebody could think that that is the prompt of like, okay, so I just need like a case study, and it's like,
Yeah.
you also actually have to have the skill to make that work. Like, you
Right.
have to have the
Yeah.
because I think
Yeah.
bury their crops in the ground. I think that like she was trying to do a similar thing. Like I think that that
Right.
was also,
Yeah.
I think that that is a book that was aiming to do something like this, and like just
Yeah.
did not have the skill to pull it off in the way that
Right.
this
Yeah,
book.
because I think like the obvious way would to do this book would have been to have it separated by people. So it starts off with Liz, goes to Roger's story, goes
Yes,
to now, like, and to go one by one. And I think like when I think of that version of the book, it's so like oppressive is the
yes,
word that comes to
yeah,
mind, where
yeah,
it would feel like, right, why am I going through this all over again? And so I think this book makes really good use of the repetitiveness of the
yeah,
story because it splits it up so that it's really more like, because it's before, during, and after,
right.
it's really more like, how does the before happen, like instead of like what is the trajectory of Liz's story, and like why, and then you're just kind of reading the same story like over and over again. And so it like really helps to bring out both the similarities and the differences for the better,
Yeah,
I think, like where it's like
totally.
the things that make each story unique gets to stand more on their own, and then the thing that makes them like have shared traits like also like actually is a positive, because it's like, right, this thing keeps happening, like
Uh-huh.
this, the fact that these companies like don't care keeps happening, and you really get more of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
i'm gonna I'm gonna just think about the structure of this book a
it's
lot.
really, really solid. Really, really solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
She really nailed that. She really did her big one here. Megan
Yeah.
Greenwell.
Yeah. Good
Really
job.
good.
Seems like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you're good job, Megan Greenwell.
Yeah, yeah.
And
You were
then you were
waiting for
waiting
us
for
to say
us,
this.
but
Just like
now
you wrote this book and was like, "What's nonfiction book club gonna say?" All you nonfiction writers out there, we
yeah,
know.
they're waiting for us
Yeah,
and our
to
3 to 5
lay down
friends.
our judgment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I also
it
really
was
like this cover.
depressing.
The
Yeah.
cover is great.
Yeah, it did really make me think about how much I used to love the Toys R Us
I
catalog when it would come out at Christmas.
loved, yes, Toys, and like going to Toys R Us that we used to
Yeah.
lived. They put a Toys R Us in by my house when I don't know, not that far from my house, when I was like 11, maybe when I started middle school, and I used to ride my bike down. We were just talking about this over Christmas break about how like crazy it is that my little brother and I used to ride our bike down to the shopping center. It was
Uh-huh.
like I don't know, like
Yeah.
I want to pull up a map and like explain this, but it is, I don't know, as we
Yeah,
as
yeah. Oh,
things
yeah, that
change,
was
what's allowed, what kids are allowed to do now
yeah.
versus they weren't. But I don't know, we used to ride our bikes well, and really because I had a cell phone, I was like one of the first of my friends to get a cell phone, so really it was like down a hill. We would ride our
Yeah.
bikes down the hill, and then I would call my mom and have her come pick us up when we wanted to go home, because I don't want to ride my bike up a hill. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a Toys R Us down there, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
yeah, that was like a just go hang out, and like we didn't buy
Yeah.
anything. We
Right.
used to walk around
Yeah.
by the Toys R Us. Like,
Yeah. When you talk about the shopping center, that was reminding me, I unfortunately didn't flag it because I'm really bad at tabbing things. But it was like, actually, oh wait, you know what? I think I know where it would be. No, I don't know where it would be. Let's see. Is Charlotte Roos in the index?
I thought of you when she mentions. Did you clock that in the introduction? She mentions the Taylor Swift
Yeah.
blog.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's coming for Taylor Swift too.
Of course, Deboki picked a book that mentions Taylor Swift.
Yes. It always goes back to T Swift. Here it is. Private equity owned chains that went under in the 2010s include Radio Shack, Claire's, Payless Shoe Source, Kmart, Sears, Gymboree, Charlotte Russe, A&P, Fresh and Easy, Shopko, Winn-Dixie, Fairway Sports Authority, Mervyn's, Linen and Things, and dozens of others. And I was like, right. So you just like listed them all.
Yeah, that's a whole mall that's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why malls are like deserted.
They're gone. Yeah.
Private equity killed the mall too. Well,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think like that's like where, I think to the extent that like I think this book is really good. I also think it's good about like avoiding being too declarative though as well.
This book would not say private equity killed them all. I will.
Right. Yeah. We will. Yeah. We're like capitalism and private equity.
Capitalism and private equity killed them all. I don't know what to
tell you. And Nathan's gonna log on to this later and be like, excuse me.
At Nathan.
But I do think it like kind of stays in its lane as far as analysis goes, like because it's so focused on these personal, or not even personal, but like very specific stories. It like does do some extent of being like, yes, private equity is very much responsible for these industries. I think with the retail in particular, it's like I think she both like acknowledges that like Amazon really changed the game. Also, private equity made it harder for these companies to contend with Amazon. Like it's not strictly true. Yeah, exactly.
Which is so interesting too. Again, thinking about my 2025 interview, I don't know, just like having this fresh on my brain.
Yeah.
A thing that was coming, like a recurring, something that came up more than once last year was books where we wanted them to be more declarative. Like we wanted you, like where it's like close to like what's your argument? Like what's the actual hardline thesis statement that you're making here? And I find it really interesting that I think that this book manages to like do that and to do the thing that you're saying, which is like not overstate its case. Like it's clear, it's clear-eyed, but it is also still like pretty. I get what private equity is fucking the American dream. That's and she makes that case well. She's like, she has a clear argument. She builds the argument, and I find that really interesting. Also, I don't know, just thinking about.
No, I think that's a really good point. I think like. Yeah, because I think her like kind of, I don't know if you would call it like a sub thesis or whatever, are really like clear points that she is able to illustrate well. Of like, I think one of the key ones is like private equity sucks because the incentives for private equity are different from the industries that they are taking over. That's a big one. Also, private equity is not invested in the communities that they are like now currently serving. I guess it's related to the incentives, but like they are slightly separate. Yeah, because like that's also a big part of the last section about like communities is like it's both like the private equity is not invested in these communities and that's why it sucks, but also like that's a great source of weakness for them as well, is like their lack of investment in these communities means that these communities are able to organize in a way that they like are not always prepared for. Again, I think the hospital is like a big example of that because like that's so much like motivated by people in these communities with reputations, with like, connections and everything, who are able to, and patients too, like they're the patients to work on this grant that was going to take a long time to get, like and that helped them. It's
your community, you care, so you'll
exactly and you're not trying to maximize shareholder value like by the next quarter, right? Like so it's very different in that way, and it's like part of why they're able to like push back. So I think like that community element is like also really strong. So yeah, I feel like those like sub theses are both like well illustrated by the stories and like very like particularly specific, I think, to these stories in a way that like makes it work. Like if I were going to try to read this in an academic way, like I think that version of it would feel like a little more limited, like in terms of how much I could take from it, where I'd be like, okay, what did these industries look like more broadly? I think she like, that's not a criticism of the book. I think it's more like about what this book is specifically aiming to be.
Project.
Yeah. And which is different from something like Ruin Their Cups on the Ground, which is more like try, I think, to make a little bit more of an academic argument. and maybe falling a little short, or like versions of this book that might be more academic, like The Age of Surveillance Capitalism.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Yeah, big gush. This is a really great way to kick off. That's why this one had to get punted to 2026.
Right? Yeah, we couldn't do this.
We did what we did. And
yeah, 2025 was a weird year for book club.
It was a weird year for book club. We're gonna take this book, this banger selection, and we're gonna start our year off on a strong, firm footing.
Bleak and strong.
Bleak and strong. That is the brand. Listen, most of our best books are also really bleak. I don't know.
I'm excited for us to one day find a book that is not bleak but strong. I don't know if we have one. Maybe some of the personal ones.
I like to watch.
Strong, yeah, of course.
That was a fun time.
Yeah,
what a fun little time that was.
We'd have to do more pop culture essays to get there.
I actually did almost add a third book to I sent you the 2 pictures of books that is pop culture, but it would not have been a happy. I almost suggested it, but I was like, she'll pick this one immediately. This will be her pick, but it was not. It's not an optimistic pop culture book. It's like
but what is
culture creep?
Oh, culture creep. Sorry, now we're just planning this in front of you all.
It's a collection of essays examining the intersection of feminism, cults, corporate culture, and technology through the lens of pop culture. So,
I probably would have picked that. You made the right call.
I have it on my bookshelf if you want to pick it for a future, if you want it, if you want to claim it.
When I present like 3 options and then I'm like, basically like, no, Nicole, we're doing this one.
Yeah.
It's funny when we started book club and it was like, oh yeah, Devoki's obviously going to do the science one. It's like, no, actually, I would like to do the pop culture.
No, Devoki immediately was like, you know what? I've done enough science. I was thinking about this though, like yesterday after I was looking at all our books and like the highs, lows, whatever. But then I was looking back at the shelf and like year 1, I was also, because we started in April, so that was also only an 8 book year, I guess. Not 1, 2, 3, 9. It was a 9 book year. And we did really well. Like, but they were like, I don't know. We started so strong. We came out.
Yeah. I think we started with the books that were like, we've been really wanting to read these for a while. And like, we just like need the push. And then, but also like, I also think we're more experimental. Like, I think that's part of it too. I think I was more afraid of picking a bad book in the beginning. And like,
I really early on gave up on. I was like, whatever, dog. That's why I was like, I don't know if you. That's why I was like, that this.
I haven't watched it. Yeah.
Well. You accidentally caught. I said something about the whatever Empire Incorporated.
I
was like relieved because I was like, this feels like a bad book that I would choose.
we did almost do the book. There was the Cold War book that.
Oh my God! Yeah, the Cold War book. Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So it's happened. We've done it. I think we've learned that books with Empire in the title. I don't remember if that one had Empire in the title. It feels like a book that had Empire in the title.
Yeah. Something I think it did. American Empire, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Books with Empire in the title.
It's tough.
Can't do
tough sell. Bad vibes. Anything else about Bad Company, or since I guess we're already kind of getting, but
we're getting to that point. Did the people like it? Did you all like it?
Yes. Caitlin didn't read it yet. She's hearing us discuss it. And then deciding. So Caitlin, our review is you should read it. That's our our advice to you is to go ahead and read it. I don't know if Colby has big feelings for us. Colby liked it too. Yes. Okay.
Colby, we've missed you.
Yeah.
So we're glad to see you back. I don't know if you were back and we just weren't saying anything, but we're glad to.
He's like, I've been here the whole time. I've never missed one.
Yeah.
No, we just. Anyway. Okay. Well, then, do you have a preference? Do you want to lock in, or do we want to do a poll?
Let's do a poll.
Okay.
I enjoy poll. That way it's everyone else's fault.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we have 2 books for you. This was my original pick. Everyone Breaks These Laws: How Copyrights Made the Online World by Gerardo Condiez. You have to do the poll, Taboki, also.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Taboki, Nicole, and Colby all approve of Read Bad Company. Yes, Caitlin, that's the takeaway. Okay, so yeah, first suggestion was this. This one was, I was originally like, this is what I had picked if we had done this back in December. This was going to be the January book club. It is about, hold on, I mean, I feel like you can see what it's about, but How Copyrights Made the Online World. This book is a captivating exploration of the profound impact of American copyright law on our online lives. And so, yeah, copyright and the internet. I feel like, yep, you know what this is. Great. And then, but I had the thought yesterday when I was remembering that Emily Nussbaum is our first and only repeat author. I was like, oh, I have this book sitting on my on my bookshelf that I haven't read yet. Original Sins: The Miseducation of Black and Native Children and the Construction of American Racism by Eve L. Ewing. In which case we could have a second repeat author. I think that's like a big part of why I suggested this. The other thing here is that this has an audiobook and this does not. If that affects your, motivates you in any way. But both books seem really interesting to me. So that's it. These are our choices. Let us know what you want to do in the poll.
Yeah. Okay. There's the poll. Okay. This should happen now.
You know, I gotta be realistic about what the constraints are here. Audiobook. I actually found out about this one because one of our big funders at work is the Sloan Foundation. They've been funding one of our deep dives every year, and we do deep dives, and then we also do a couple. They like fund books, and we've done now. Did it in 2024, and we did it again in 2025, where we did 3 videos inspired by one of their. They fund a lot of like pop science books, and we are like helping to sort of promote them, which is like a really, really easy thing for us to do because that is a place where our topics come from often, where it's like one of our script editors, JD, reads so much like pop science, and she is regularly bringing us stuff that's just like, I was reading this book that like. I don't know. JD's home library actually would also be a great place for us to pilfer for. She is constantly citing a very nonfiction book club-esque book in her.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Sloan Foundation sent us like a newsletter of like their most recent funded books or whatever, and I was just like kind of scrolling through them, and I saw this, and I was like, wait, this one actually seems dope. It's not something SciShow would do anything with, but I personally.
Sounds like it's something we're going to be doing something with. We have 3 votes. They are all for Everyone Breaks These Laws.
All right, that's it. No repeat author yet. Maybe in a month. Maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll and maybe for my birthday. Maybe in April. I'll say. Too bad.
I'm ending a poll. It's been a minute. That's long enough.
Great. Thank you to the 3 people who voted. Democracy in action, baby. Yeah. So this is it. Everyone Breaks These Laws: How Copyright Made the Online World. Taboki and I gotta pick a date offline, but sometime next month.
It'll happen.
We'll email you and we'll post it in the Discord. And thanks for hanging out. Go get the book. Go buy it from somewhere. This, I will say, it was a little bit harder to track down is the other thing, but we're locked, so you're committed.
We're committed. Yeah. That's the one.
This is the one. So anyway, shout out to Rainy Day Books here in I still have the receipt.
Well, thanks everyone for joining. We will see you at some point in the future. We don't know when, but it'll happen.
Don't worry about it.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.